Teacher Talking Sports, what it does, what it do, how we live in. Week 4 NFL action features a game between the Baltimore Ravens and Buffalo Bills. Two starting quarterbacks in Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are both taken in the 2018 NFL Draft and have quickly become two of the elite players in the NFL. They weren't even the first two quarterbacks drafted in that draft. Those were Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, who are currently both on the same team. But with that matchup coming this Sunday, ESPN Plus posted an article ranking the best quarterback combos in NFL draft history. So this was done by ESPN draft analyst Matt Miller. What he did was rank the top 10 quarterback duos from the same draft class dating back to 1967, which was the first year the NFL and AFL had a combined draft known as the Common Draft Era. So let's take a look at his 1 through 10, and I'll quickly name some notable quarterbacks that did not make the list and who would have been alongside them if they did. So let's get into it. I usually like doing descending order. We'll go 1 through 10 for this one. So starting off with that famed 1983 quarterback draft, John Elway and Dan Marino, in my eyes, both are top 10 quarterbacks, so no-brainer choice for the first spot. And if this was a trios, they would also be on top because you also have Hall of Fame quarterback Jim Kelly in that quarterback draft. That's going to be nearly impossible to ever top. Second, we got the 2004 draft. Again, three excellent quarterbacks. They chose two in Eli Manning and Ben Roethlisberger. Both quarterbacks won 2 rings, probably why they went with them over Phillip Rivers, who did not win a championship or make a Super Bowl. Third, we have 2 active quarterbacks, and the quarterbacks I mentioned at the start, Matt Miller already put Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson third. Lamar Jackson has already won an MVP, likely the most dynamic dual threat quarterback in NFL history, even over a Michael Vick or Randall Cunningham. While Josh Allen has been an MVP candidate for a few seasons now and is currently the favorite to win the MVP, albeit very early in the season. Fourth, let's go back to 1979. Joe Montana, seen by many as the best quarterback of all time prior to Tom Brady. And Phil Simms, not quite a Hall of Famer, but did win 2 Super Bowls with the Giants, although one of them he was injured, and Jeff Hostetler was the starting quarterback. Let's go to the 5th best. Another 2 active quarterback list. Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, 2017. This would have been interesting if Watson had played last season and if he wasn't suspended the first 11 games this season. It would be very comparable to the number 3 duo of Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Mahomes would probably be atop both Allen and Jackson. Watson, due to being off the field, currently would be ranked behind Allen and Jackson. But right now they're 5th. Let's see what Deshaun Watson we get once he's back for the 12th game for the Browns. 6th, we got the 2001 duo of Michael Vick and Drew Brees. Drew Brees over 80,000 passing yards and 571 touchdown passes, along winning the Super Bowl. Michael Vick, again, probably the best dual threat quarterback prior to Lamar Jackson. If he didn't have his prison sentence for running a dogfighting ring and missed a few seasons in the NFL, maybe had a chance to make the Hall of Fame. 7th, we have the combo of Peyton Manning and Matt Hasselbeck. Manning, known as one of the best regular season quarterbacks of all time, did win 2 Super Bowls as well. Matt Hasselbeck, one of the underappreciated guys from the 2000s, did help guide the Seattle Seahawks to a Super Bowl appearance. 8th, we have Alex Smith and Aaron Rodgers in 2005. Alex Smith was probably better than a serviceable quarterback during his time in the league, a lengthy amount of time in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers, of course, famously had to wait in the green room for quite some time before finally getting taken by the Green Bay Packers. Again, a guy who many consider a top 10 quarterback in NFL history, of course, still currently playing. Ninth, two active quarterbacks here, Russell Wilson and Kirk Cousins in 2012. I personally would have included Andrew Luck over Kirk Cousins. Yes, Andrew Luck retired early. He was the better quarterback than Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, one of those guys who puts up excellent regular season stats, but seems to not play as well when the moment gets big. And 10th, I'm very surprised that these two are on here already. Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert, both just in their third season. I mean, Justin Herbert, as excellent as his stats are, an under 500 record and has yet to play in a postseason game. Joe Burrow, yes, made the Super Bowl in his second season, but struggled as a rookie and got hurt. But Matt Miller already puts them in his top 10. Tua, of course, leads the NFL in QBR thus far early in the season. Could he be one of the two 2020 quarterbacks by the time the season's over? So what do you guys think about this top 10 list? He also mentioned two honorable mentions, Drew Bledsoe and Mark Brunell in 1993, as well as Jim Plunkett and Joe Theismann in 1971. Now, the one that really surprised me that they weren't on, Tom Brady in 2000. It could be Tom Brady and a guy who made one career start, and I think they probably should have been on the top 10 just because of Tom Brady. But there's two other pretty good quarterbacks in that draft, Chad Pennington and Mark Bulger. I would probably give the slight edge to Chad Pennington, who had his injury woes, but was a winning quarterback as a starter, had a winning record, and finished as runner-up for MVP one season. Other Hall of Fame quarterbacks that did not make this list. So we had in 1970, Terry Bradshaw was drafted. The second best was probably Mike Phipps, so not exactly a great second quarterback. 1984, I don't know if they didn't include Steve Young because he was taken in the supplemental draft, but if they would consider that, him along with Boomer Esiason, I mean, I don't know how you could put Herbert and Burrow ahead of them already, being that Steve Young was a multi-time MVP, I believe multi-time, won a Super Bowl as a starting quarterback. Boomer Esiason won an MVP with the Cincinnati Bengals. 1989, Troy Aikman, second best Rodney Peete. I can understand why they didn't make it. 1973, we had Dan Fouts, one of the best quarterbacks to never make the Super Bowl, but in the Hall of Fame. And a few good quarterbacks along with him were in that 1973 draft. Burt Jones won an MVP. Jaws, Ron Jaworski, and Joe Ferguson, longtime Bills starting quarterback. 1991, Brett Favre. That was just not a good draft for quarterbacks. Dan McGuire and Todd Maranovich were drafted in the first round. They were busts. Craig Erickson was probably the second best quarterback. But again, I don't see how you can include Brady along with Pennington, or if you wanted to say Bulger. And I would have included Steve Young and Boomer Esiason as well. Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert way too early. But what do you guys think? Do you agree with their top 10? I don't see how you could disagree with number 1. Do you think Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson have a chance to surpass Elway and Marino? I think they definitely have the potential to be number 2 ahead of Roethlisberger and Eli Manning. But again, surpassing Elway and Marino is going to be very hard. But definitely was a fun article to read. If you have ESPN Plus, I definitely recommend it. Don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to subscribe. Like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications. I'm out.